Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I am your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout their business career and share them with us. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn, and the link to that will be in the show notes below. But for today's show, our special guest is Curtis McCullom. He's the owner of Bespoke Human Potential Coaching, providing high-level coaching programs for CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs that eliminate subconscious blind spots and blocks. So, Curtis, welcome to the show, man. And I just want to start off with a question that I always love asking, and it is this. If somehow you were able to go back in time to when you started your very first business, what's the number one piece of advice that you give yourself?
Yeah, I was thinking about that question because I did look at some of your previous podcasts, and the answer to that question is probably absolutely nothing different because of the fact that where I am now is because of the learnings that I got during that time. I thought about what will I do different, and how I was thinking about that, and it's like, well, part of my philosophy, part of my coaching philosophy is learning, growing, expanding, and transforming. So I feel that the reason I'm here today is because what I've learned always 40 years ago. And then when I started this business 6 years ago, I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have gotten those little learnings along the way. But probably just be prepared, probably tell myself, be prepared for the journey because it's not
Yeah.
easy for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting because in a lot of ways, my answer would kind of be the same way. It's like if I told myself what I know now, I wouldn't go through the things that have taught me the stuff that I know. So it's kind
Right.
of, it's like, well, I don't know. But let me ask the question in a different way then, because I'd
Okay.
still love to have your advice on this or your thoughts on it. If someone was starting off in business, or maybe they've been in business for a while and they're a little bit stuck, what's one
Right.
of the biggest lessons that you've learned that has helped you move forward? And maybe that's based on a particular challenge that you've had in business. So, if you want to share that challenge, and then what's the number one lesson you learned from that, that'd be great to hear as well.
Probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that number one is that I would know what I need to know when I need to know it. Right.
Mm,
And it's like when I'm going through a challenge, just even lately, even as a coach, coaches need coaches. And one of the challenges that I was experiencing, Jason, is that I was still feeling like success is hard and difficult. So that lesson for me was to some of the methodology that I use in my coaching is to kind of go back and look at that and reframe it and find out what is it that I need to learn from that. So one of the lessons was that I'm persistent. I'm persistent. I'm courageous, and I'm strong. So when we look at challenges, when even I'm going through some things, it's still, I think, number one thing that most entrepreneurs don't do is acknowledge it. Allow yourself to just go through it. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to have
mm,
these emotions, because a feeling is an emotion that wants to communicate with us and leave. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, we want to be always on. We want to make sure people think that we got it all together, and sometimes we don't. And it's okay. I tell people it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to pretend that you're okay and you're not.
mm. Say that again, Curtis. That's really powerful.
And so it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to pretend that you are okay and you're not.
Yeah, such a great thing. You said something I'd love for you to expand on it a little bit more. And you talked about the feelings that you have. And I can't remember the exact wording you
Yeah.
just said, but the feelings you have, it's almost like letting them to flow and be released as opposed to
Yes.
almost like suppressing them, which I
Yes.
know we kind of know that, not suppress feelings, but I think what you meant might be a little bit different. And I'm really curious about that because I think that's a really key thing you said.
Okay. In my practice, one of the things in acknowledging is understanding that a feeling is just an emotion that wants to communicate with us and leave. The way the subconscious mind works is that if there's a lesson to be learned, it's going to present itself in a lot of different ways. right? It's going to, sometimes it's in our body, sometimes it's in our stomach ache, our back ache, or neck ache, something, or headache. All these things presented itself. And sometimes when I wake up in the morning, listen to what I'm saying. I'm feeling sad. I'm not sad. It's a feeling. And sometimes what we do, we identify with the feeling that we're experiencing and not acknowledging as an entity outside of ourselves. So think about it like this. So if I can acknowledge I'm feeling sad today, not I am sad, and now what is that feeling? I'm feeling the sadness. So allow myself to have that because it's just an emotion that wants to communicate with me, which is I'm sad today, which is
Mm.
okay. It's okay not to be okay, and allow it to communicate. And once it kind of communicates and you sometimes acknowledge it, it instantly starts to kind of move through us and we move on with our day. The opposite of that is that we try to suppress it. We try to be on. We try to like put the face on. We try to, it's like I remember back in the day when I used to listen to Zig Ziglar. It's like, I mean, some of the other motivational speakers out there, they used to like, when it's raining outside, just tell yourself it's not raining outside. Well, it is raining, and it's
Yeah.
okay, and it's okay that it's raining because
Yeah.
now, Jason, look, think about it like this. Now I can make a decision. I can make a couple of decisions. The one of the decision is I know it's raining, so I'm acknowledging the rain. Number one is so I can say, okay, I want to be whimsical today, so I'm just going to go out in the rain and have fun. That's one way to look at it. Or I can say, you know what? It's raining outside and I need to get to point A to point B. So I'm going to put on my raincoat, my rain boots, and my umbrella to make sure I'm there, not wet. That's another way. Or I can say, you know what? It's raining outside and I choose not to go out today. But
Yeah.
I'm acknowledging the fact that it's raining. I can't not play like it's not raining. And it is raining. Back in the day, I remember when we first started, it's like, just think positive. Think about, well, the positive thing is, or the truthful thing is raining. So what I'm going to do about it?
Yeah. Wow, absolutely amazing. Like it's so true as well. And I think what you were just saying around just thinking positive, I think there's toxic positivity, where you just don't acknowledge what's going on. And when you acknowledge what's going on, there's actually lessons to be learned there. Where
Yeah.
if we just suppress it, God, I'm just going to be positive, we're not
No.
learning the lesson,
Right. You got to go
And we,
through it. Either, I think I told people, I was a pastor for a while. And one of the things one of the two things I've learned in the book of James is like one of the Bible talks about, is like James says, uh, confess your faults one to another that you may be healed. Kind of what he's saying is just acknowledge it to someone so that now it's released, so that now it can start to heal itself. So it's so important that we just release it, acknowledge it, number one. It's okay. It's okay today. I'm feeling like, you know, poop.
yeah.
I, that's what I'm feeling today. And it's okay. So what is it it's trying to tell me? It's trying to tell me, am I overdoing it? Am I doing this? Or is it just one of those days that I have sometimes? But once we acknowledge it, man, you can kind of feel the energy kind of deflate and kind of get out of there.
Man, that's such a powerful thing. When you're What are some of the obstacles then for people? And I know you just talked about, just kind of pretending it's not there. Obviously,
Right.
we want to do that. But what are some of the other obstacles that when we're going through business and we're going through those challenges, um, what other challenges do you see that people deal with from the subconscious standpoint in terms of like themes? I'm sure as you speak with clients, you kind of see themes that people kind of go through. It's like, man, if people just realize that this is a normal thing, we could all just
Right.
deal with it, everything would be so much better. Like what's that one or two of those real common things you see causes more problems than what they should do?
I think one of the common themes that most of us experience is that feeling of not being good enough, or that feeling of that imposter syndrome, or that feeling of not being worthy, not feeling like
Mm,
that we belong where we are.
yeah.
And usually that's from this kind of stems from the fact that something offhanded that we thought was at the point at the time that we actually accepted it, something when we were, it could have been a something your parents could have said, or something that was said on the playground that you're never going to be good at anything. And it was funny at the time, but it was not funny to the subconscious because the subconscious does not know jokes. It basically it takes everything literal. And if we accept and decide that feeling or emotion or thought, it kind of trails through us and with us throughout our lives. And then it kind of show up at times that we, least opportune times. And that's kind of what I share with CEOs and other individuals is that we all have blocks, right? We all have things in our lives that kind of prevent us from moving, that's there, but may not prevent us from moving forward. Now there are blocks where now I want to break through. I want to break through the six figure. I want to break through the seven figure. But there is something like, there's something like I feel it. I don't know what it is, and that's the thing that we what is sometimes that prevent us from doing that. So one of the things is that those feelings and emotions of not good enough, I'm not worthy, or what is this thing all about? I think that would be it.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any simple steps that people can start working through to be able to get over those things? Because one of the things that I've found is that no matter the level that I'm at in business, I think when I get to that level, everything's going to be okay. And then I realize, oh man, there's another level, you know, and that's not a like a hustle. You got to go. It's
Right.
just once you hit that level, it becomes your new normal, and there's more growth, there's more
Yes.
development, there's more personal things you have to go through and learn, and it's just like peeling back these layers of the onion. So, what are some simple steps that people can work through to be okay with that, but also level up?
That's a great question. And that kind of brings us to what I call a legit mindset, where I created what I call a legit mindset, learning, growing, expanding, and transforming. And it's a
Mhm.
never ending process. Meaning, when we go and think about it like this, if we can ever frame or reframe challenges as a learning, meaning like, okay, I'm going through this for purpose. What is the purpose? What I need to learn from this? Therefore, when I learn from it, I can grow because I'm going to let go of all the things that no longer serve me. Then I'm going to expand, God, getting clarity and vision, and then I'm going to transform. Because when we transform, the universe itself is continually expanding. That means that we as individuals are always expanding. So when we make it to what you call like that new level, we have to be ready to now knowing that there's going to be some new learnings for us to continue to grow. Now, three things that I, or four things that we can talk about. What can they do right now, right? If they're going through something. Number one is what we talked about in the middle of the show is acknowledge it. Allow yourself to say, okay, this is what I'm experiencing right now. I'm trying to get through seven figures. What is it that's preventing me from now breaking through? There's a feeling of I'm afraid, fear, fear of success, fear, whatever. That's what it is. Okay, now allow that to communicate with us, knowing that, okay, I'm feeling that. It's normal and it's natural for when we're growing, it's normal and natural for us to feel that feeling. I think in the book, Feel the Feeling and Do It Anyway, or Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, it's like we're going to feel that. And so we're knowing that's part of it. So now I'm acknowledging it. I'm allowing myself to kind of go through it, and then now ask yourself specific questions. The question is, and usually I tell people at that point too, Jason, is to put your body into ignite the parasympathetic nervous system. How we do that is taking diaphragmatic breathing. That tells our body we're safe, we're okay. And then once we get to this point where we're feeling relaxed and okay, we ask ourselves questions. What is it I need to be doing right now? What is it that, or how can I now move forward? Or what else can I do? Now, this is important. Do not ask yourself why questions. Why questions will actually go into your subconscious and tell you all the reasons why you are feeling or all the reasons why you feel like you cannot move forward. So we want to ask ourselves empowering questions, what questions and how questions and what's the next step questions, and then listen to that higher self because it's going to come to us. Some inspired action is going to be ignited within us. And it's going to say, uh, do one more email. You're like, what? Yeah. just do it. Just write that one more email. And
Yeah.
I think that brings me to Jim Rohn used to say, it's easy to do is easy not to do, right? And so sometimes the easy things that our subconscious tells us to do, we kind of put it to the side. But when we're going to these moments of acknowledging, allowing ourselves to go through it, and then taking ourselves to make sure that we are in a situation where we're totally relaxed, ask ourselves the right questions, the what questions and how questions, and then allow that to now communicate with us with some type of inspired actions, and take the action. Take it,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is that you think is not important, because it's going to take you to the next step.
Love it. Oh my gosh. So much good information in there, Curtis. Well, so many more questions, but we're up on time, believe it or not. So for people that want to find out more about you or get in touch with you, Curtis, what's the best way for them to do that?
Basically, they can either go to my website at curtismccullom.com or Bespoke Human Potential Coaching. And they can also find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on YouTube. They can find me on all social media accounts, all social media, and is all of them under is at Curtis McCullom or at Curtis.McCullom, one of the two.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Curtis, for being on the show. And everyone, guys, please, reach out to Curtis if anything he said has resonated with you. Definitely do that. But again, just massive thank you for being on the show, Curtis. And as a reminder for everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everyone hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn on LinkedIn, and the link to that will be in the show notes below. And until next time, stay inspired.